A very good evening and welcome to the news tonight. I'm Tracy Shilji, and in the next 30 minutes, I'll be getting you the day's top stories from India and across the world. Also, a special focus on the Congress's march to Rashtrapati Bhavan against intolerance and how the BJP is calling it a political stunt. We'll get you reactions on that, but before that, the headlines. Congress President Sonia Gandhi leads a march to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Party MPs submit memorandum to the President on rising intolerance in the country. Where is the intolerance though? Asks Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. Accuses protesters of harboring nefarious designs. Campaign ends for the fifth and final phase of elections in Bihar. 57 seats to go to polls on the 5th of November. Underworld Don Chota Rajan's deportation to India delayed by Bali airport shutdown. The CBI plans to question him in Delhi when he returns. And a day after police crackdown on the Indo-Nepal border, Madhesi protesters return to continue agitation against Nepal's constitution. Our top story this evening, a 125-strong delegation of Congress leaders met President Pranab Mukherjee at his residence today. They submitted a memorandum to him voicing their concern over the alleged rise in intolerance in the country. The party marched from the parliament to Rashtrapati Bhavan in a big show of strength. Here's a report.
Congress leaders led by party President Sonia Gandhi and Vice President Rahul Gandhi marching towards Rashtrapati Bhavan. The march was to protest the growing intolerance in the country. Congress leaders accused the Modi government of unleashing a sinister campaign to create social and communal tension.
कुछ खास संगठन और लोग जो या तो सरकार से जुड़े हैं या फिर मोदी जी की सरकार में शामिल है, भारत की बहुरंगी संस्कृति, मूल विचारों और इसके सिद्धांतों पर हमला कर रहे हैं। इंटॉलरेंस को खूब बढ़ावा दिया जा रहा है। कांग्रेस पार्टी ऐसी शक्तियों से पूरी ताकत के साथ मुकाबला करेगी।
People are being lynched and being killed, and the Prime Minister is silent, does not believe that it is necessary for him to say a word. People have given up their prizes, and the Prime Minister and his Finance Minister believe that nothing is going on in the country. They think everything is fine. This is the heart of the problem, is that they believe in an ideology which is simply not tolerant.
This show of strength by the Congress began from Parliament. At the end, Sonia Gandhi handed over a memorandum to President Pranab Mukherjee, seeking his intervention in checking incidents that are causing social divide and also thanking him for speaking out against such incidents.
इस ज्ञापन में भय, असहनशीलता और धमकी का माहौल बनाए जाने पर गहरी चिंता व्यक्त की गई है। जो दुखद घटनाएं आजकल हो रही हैं, यह सब एक सोची समझी रणनीति का हिस्सा है, जो हमारे समाज को बांटने के लिए जानबूझकर रची गई है।
Carrying placards that said that the party will fight communalism at every step, Congress leaders also said that no attempt should be made to disrupt the unity of the country.
प्रधानमंत्री जी एक तरफ ऐसे इंटॉलरेंट इश्यूज को वो एनकरेज करते हैं और दूसरे तरफ वो ये कहते हैं कि दूसरे लोग उनके तरफ इंटॉलरेंट है बीजेपी।
इसलिए हमने आज़ादी लाई इस देश के लिए कि ऐसे माहौल पैदा होगी कि लोग मासूम हमारे पब्लिक की इनके बातों में आके मान गए, बिना सिनेमा डे के टिकट खरीद लिए, बिना ट्रेलर भी देखे और वहाँ इसको पार्लियामेंट में बिठा दिए और ये चलेगा देश में और हम चुप रहे, ये तो होगा नहीं।
The march comes in the backdrop of protests by artists, writers and scientists over what they say is rising intolerance. The recent incidents in Dadri, the Kerala House beef row, and the murder of 2 Dalit children in Haryana have been cited in these protests. With inputs from Pranab Goswami and Mohammad Fateh Tipu, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And hours before the Congress took out that march, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley questioned the rationale behind the party's claims. He accused the Congress of raking up the issue to gain political mileage, claiming peace across the country. Jaitley also said that India does not have a history of intolerance.
Cornered by the raging debate on intolerance, the centre is in a counter-offensive mood. On Tuesday, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley dismissed reports of rising incidents of intolerance and took on the opposition for trying to politicize the issue.
कि देश में पूर्ण शांति है, सद्भाव की भावना, सद्भाव का माहौल है, और इस देश ये कभी देश इंटॉलरेंट रहा नहीं है और कभी रहेगा नहीं, और इसलिए राजनीतिक कारणों से इस विषय को उठाने का कोई लाभ नहीं है.
Incidents like Professor M.M. Kalburgi's murder, Dadri lynching or burning of Dalit children in Haryana saw eminent authors, filmmakers and scientists return coveted awards in protest. Jaitley had earlier termed it a manufactured rebellion. On Tuesday, he reiterated his stand.
ये कोई नहीं कहने को तैयार कि इस देश में इंटॉलरेंस होनी चाहिए और नहीं होनी चाहिए. तो अगर कोई व्यक्ति कहता है कि इंटॉलरेंस नहीं होनी चाहिए तो उसमें गलत बात क्या है?
On Monday, noted historian Shekhar Pathak also decided to return his Padma Shri award, joining a long list of protesters. However, National Award winner filmmaker Kamal Hassan questioned the manner of the protest.
साहित्य अकेडमी ने एक औपचारिक कंडेमनेशन तक नहीं किया कि साहब हम इसको धिक्कारते हैं, हम इसकी भर्त्सना करते हैं. उसके खिलाफ हमारे साहित्यकारों ने अपने आमंत्रण लौटाए, अपने सम्मान लौटाए. तो ये उन लोगों को समर्थन देने की कोशिश है छोटी सी.
We'll hope that they are not too angry. It is in their part also necessary to be a little more tolerant in these things. So tolerance is give and take. I'm not criticizing any party, but this is nothing new to India. It will surmount this also, again, as it had done before.
On Monday, the raging political standoff over the issue turned uglier. The BJP and the Congress were locked in a war of words over each other's responsibilities during the 1984 and 2002 riots. With inputs from Kriti Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
But for more on this story, we're joined by Shekhar Iyer, who's the political editor at Deccan Herald, joining us in studio this evening. Shekhar, you know, the BJP calling this a political stunt. How much do you agree with that? And, you know, these statements that are coming from the BJP, in some way or the other, making, you know, those speaking out against intolerance, you know, at least as far as the balance is concerned, a bit higher. Because, you know, these statements that are coming out of the BJP, you know, they're a bit shocking, aren't they?
Well, I think the whole thing has become political now. And today's Congress march from Parliament House to Rashtrapati Bhavan only reinforces the BJP's stand, because BJP has been saying from day one, this whole thing is sort of choreographed to time with the Bihar elections.
Move,
and first you had the writers, then you had others joining in, you had scientists. It has been happening in a sort of in a series and in waves, and BJP has reasons to believe that the Bihar election is seen as something as this is the way to stop Prime Minister Modi, and that the people who are behind this are people who had even issued statement last year just before the Lok Sabha elections, not agree. So there is a lot of political element and a lot of political ear to it. But at the same time, I think what is going to happen now that the Bihar election campaign has ended, you will have the Bihar election results, say, by Sunday. Then after that, the run-up starts for Parliament's winter session. So where the same thing is again going to have a replay, where Congress and the BJP is even today saying that the Congress has fueled this campaign because it's upset with some of the investigations, particularly the National Herald case as well as in the Robert Vadra land case. So this kind of allegation, counter-allegation is going to go on.
Yeah, absolutely. And this also brings me to the fact that in the current scenario, it seems, as far as political parties are concerned, this whole, the platform for a discussion seems to be vanishing day by day, isn't it, Shekhar? Because even when it comes to Parliament session, you see marches like this that take place, but no work happens in Parliament. When you have an issue like this that comes up, you see such big marches, but then both sides don't seem to be meeting in any way, trying to discuss and work out a solution. And like you're pointing out, in the coming winter session, we perhaps may be seeing similar scenes.
Yeah, because you see, now again, when it comes to Parliament, because in fact, the government stand is, look, the intolerance of the opposition to the mandate of 2014 has been to stall Parliament. Now, see, now it is your intolerance versus my intolerance.
Yes.
So I think this is not getting anywhere. And also, these incidents happened in Congress-ruled Karnataka. It happened in Samajwadi Party-ruled Uttar Pradesh.
Yes.
And the focus has been only on the Prime Minister. And the other thing which I think today the BJP spokesperson was, MG Akbar made out was, look, Prime Minister has already spoken on 2-3 occasions, including he mentioned an interview, he gave it to a Calcutta-based newspaper. So I think everybody is out to score points, and somewhere the effort seems to be, this is one issue where you can pin down the government.
That's right.
Somehow I get a feeling that, is it because all this is happening when everybody is exercising their right to speech and right to freedom?
Yeah. Where do we see this heading? Because now, even within the artist community, you have some who are of the opinion that, I'm sorry, but, I was not given an award by a particular government. That's at least some of what the actors are saying, and they don't want to give back their awards. And where do we see this heading in the near future?
See, I cannot but feel that somehow this is all related to that kind of heat generated by the Bihar elections.
Yes.
So I'm not sure whether after this is going to keep going on, because after the Bihar election, over whatever is the outcome, it will have its own dynamics and own fallout.
That's right.
And today we are not living in a society where the scientists or writers or anyone is, insulated from the day-to-day politics. So therefore, you have, like for instance, Kamal Hassan. Kamal Hassan is not exactly one who is a great lover of BJP. But, he says, look, we as writers and as artists, we have our own way of conveying our, and he says, well, intolerance, if you talk that way, it has gone back to even the days of partition.
Yes, that's
right. So I think it is getting more and more political, and there is no way, I think, anyone can just remove politics from this.
Yes, absolutely. Shekhar, thanks so much for joining us on this story. This is obviously not the end of it, and we'll be perhaps talking about this for days to come. Like you're pointing out, at least till the Bihar elections, the counting day on the 8th, of course. And talking about Bihar, campaigning, in fact, for the 5th and final phase of elections ended today, and 57 constituencies in 9 districts will go to polls in the 5th phase on the 5th of November. These include 10 seats each in Madhubani and Darbhanga, 7 each in Purnia and Katihar, 6 in Araria, 5 in Supol, and 4 each in Kishanganj, Madhepura and Saharsa. Now, a total of 827 candidates, including 58 female contestants, are in the poll fray this time. For the Grand Alliance, the RJD is contesting in 26 seats, while the JDU is fighting from 21 seats and the Congress from 8. For the NDA, the BJP is fighting on 42 seats, while the LJP is fighting on 5 and the RLSP on 4. The counting of votes will take place on the 8th of November. In other news now, Underworld Don Chota Rajan's deportation to India has been delayed by a shutdown at Bali airport tonight. According to the Interpol, he was to be flown to Delhi on a flight later tonight. However, a volcanic eruption in the region has forced that shutdown. Rajan was earlier questioned by the Interpol in Jakarta. During the interrogation, he alleged that some Mumbai cops have links with Dawood Ibrahim. He also alleged that he has been tortured by the Mumbai police in the past. Rajan is likely to be questioned first by the CBI when he arrives in Delhi. However, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis claims that he will be taken to Mumbai. In a tweet, he said that all necessary arrangements have been made for Rajan to be taken to Mumbai. Without a quick break here, up next, more national news. And convicted for raping a woman passenger last year in Delhi, Uber cab driver gets life imprisonment. Details of that ahead.
The poll juggernaut rolls out in Bihar. Modi's NDA takes on Nitish's Grand Alliance. Who will win this most important election battle since 2014? Watch Verdict 2015, Monday through Saturday on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back to the news tonight. Let's get you more national news. And the Supreme Court has agreed to hear the government's suggestions on reforming the collegium system of appointing judges. This comes less than a month after the Apex Court rejected the National Judicial Appointments Commission, instead favouring the decades-old collegium system. The court is willing to rework the system now to make it more transparent.
The Supreme Court has said that it is willing to work with the government to bring in more transparency and clarity in the appointments process of judges in the higher judiciary. The government has put up several suggestions before the court to fulfill this goal. In its suggestions, the government wants to set up a secretariat for screening applications and nominations to the collegium. The government also wants fixed eligibility criteria that must be made public. The government has also proposed the setting up of a complaint redressal mechanism.
The process of evolution of the collegium system is under consideration, and we made several suggestions which included how to make the system more transparent, how to have defined eligibility criteria, how to have a permanent secretariat to look after the collegium functioning so that more and more detail could be available on the public domain.
The Honorable Supreme Court has appointed Mr. Datar and Madam Pinky Anand to collect the suggestions from the members of the bar and other persons who want to make the suggestions. And those suggestions will be complied under 4 parameters which have been laid down by the Honorable Court.
A 5-judge constitution bench will hear the listed arguments on November 5th, the date of the next hearing. While striking down the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act and then NJAC Act, the Apex Court had accepted there was a need to bring more transparency and improvement in it. With inputs from Vipin Chauhan, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Rajya Sabha Secretary General Shamsher Sharif today stressed on better coordination with ministries to strengthen parliamentary process. He was addressing a one-day workshop on the issue that was attended by officials of most ministries.
Rajya Sabha Secretary General Shamsher Sharif underscored the need for better coordination between the various ministries and the Parliament Secretariat. He also expressed concern over the inadequate communication between them.
There is no sharing, no communication, which causes frequent breakdowns, sometimes misunderstandings, and also sometimes it becomes misleading also. So to clear those doubts and to ensure that in future we can at least try and minimize the faults, we thought the best is that we will take it up in one of the most delicate areas, which is that of questions.
Answers to Parliament questions are the best way to understand the working of any ministry. The workshop discussed difficulties in getting this information.
All ministries' departments should ensure that in the event of a dispute or difference of opinion regarding handling a parliamentary matter, the matter should be taken up at the level of secretary for resolving differences, if any, through discussion.
Also stressed was the need to improve coordination between various departments.
You can say proposals are approved by the cabinet, and after completion of the drafting process and all those things, those proposals are forwarded by the administrative ministry to the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs for inclusion in the tentative list of business at least 30 days in advance, which is usually not done by ministries. They should try to do this.
The one-day workshop comes ahead of the winter session that is slated to start later this month. With Navikram Singh, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
With that, let's take you through more updates from across the country and nationwide. A Delhi court today awarded the life imprisonment to Uber cab driver Shiv Kumar Yadav, accused of raping a woman in his cab last year. In its ruling, the court said that a brutal crime had been committed and a strong message needed to be sent out. The Supreme Court today dismissed the plea of DMK leader Kanimozhi for quashing of charges against her in the 2G spectrum allocation scam. The Apex Court also modified its earlier order and allowed the accused to move the Delhi High Court only against the final verdict in the 2G case. 3 Naxals were killed today in a gun battle with security forces in Chhattisgarh's Sukma district. A joint team of the elite CRPF wing Cobra, the Special Task Force and the state's District Reserve Police group was out on an anti-Naxal operation when they got into that gunfight. After that, besides the bodies of the 3 Naxals, 2 weapons were also recovered. Now, the Indo-Nepal border continues to simmer a day after an Indian was killed in police firing on Monday. For the second day, in fact, Nepal's police force cracked down on Madhesi protesters who resumed agitation near Birganj. Opposition parties accused the centre of mishandling the situation as the neighbour moved away to China to get fuel amid the blockade along the border with India.
Unfazed by the Monday crackdown on protesters by the Nepalese police, Madhesi protesters returned to continue their agitation against Nepal's new constitution on Tuesday. The crackdown on Monday claimed life of an Indian, while several others were injured. India strongly protested against the killing and took up the matter with Nepal's leadership. However, the protesters remained defiant.
वो लड़का निर्दोष है। नेपाल के पुलिस ने दमन के नाम पर उसको पकड़ करके गोली मारने का काम किया है और वैसे पुलिस पर और उसको निर्देश करने वाले अधिकारी पर यहाँ के गृह मंत्रालय पर कार्रवाई होना चाहिए, पुलिस को सस्पेंड किया जाना चाहिए।
On Tuesday too, police cracked down on the protesters as they clashed in Birgunj. The action was taken to reopen the key trade links between India and Nepal. The protests have left Nepal in acute shortage of fuel and other essential items. With no headway in talks with the Madhesi community, trucks from Nepal refueled at the China border.
त्यो अनुदानको पेट्रोल उठाउनको लागि हामीले 13औं नाकाबाट उठाउने नेपाल सरकारले निर्देशन दियो र हामीले सुरुमा 12 वटा गाडी पठायौं, त्यो पछि 4 वटा पठायौं, आज गाडी 22 वटा गयो।
Meanwhile, back home, the centre is facing sharp criticism from the opposition for failing to tackle the crisis and maintain good relations with Nepal.
कल प्रधानमंत्री नेपाल के बगल में थे, मधुबनी में, दरभंगा में, एक बार भी प्रधानमंत्री ने जिक्र तक नहीं किया, उनको जानने की फिक्र तक नहीं हुई। भारत उच्च आयोग ने कोई अभी तक पहल नहीं की है कि बिहारियों का क्या हाल हुआ है वहां वीरगंज में, वहां अनिश्चितकालीन कर्फ्यू लगा हुआ है। पहली बार हिंदुस्तान में आजादी के बाद नेपाल के साथ संबंधों में इतनी गिरावट आई है।
नेपाल के अंदर जो भी हो रहा है बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण, और हम चाहते हैं भारत और नेपाल का रिश्ता जो है दो जुड़वे भाइयों के बीच में रिश्ता।
Meanwhile, the Nepal government slammed the ongoing protest. The new PM KP Oli assured that his government will not tolerate activities directed against national interest. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In international news, Egypt today warned against damaging reports claiming the Islamic State's involvement in the air crash. Egyptian President Abdul Fattah al-Sisi said that the reports were not based on proper facts.
Conflicting claims are playing out on Saturday's Egypt air crash that killed all 224 people on board. Islamic State militants claim they shot down the plane, but Egyptian President Abdul Fattah al-Sisi dismissed it as propaganda. Sisi said it was too early to determine the cause of the crash. He said the Islamic State is trying to threaten the stability of Egypt, but the government is equipped to deal with the threat. A US satellite detected a heat flash over the Sinai region when the plane crashed. But the US says there's no direct evidence of terrorist involvement yet.
Well, we don't have any direct evidence of any terrorist involvement yet. ISIL in a tweet claimed responsibility for it, and there is a very aggressive ISIL chapter in the Sinai, but we really don't know, and I think once the black boxes have been analyzed, and which they've recovered, then perhaps we'll know more.
Investigators say analysis of black boxes can take up to 2 weeks to confirm the cause.
العمل مع الصناديق كان بدأ بالفعل، لكن هي مجرد ساعات وأيام الأولى لهذا العمل. العمل يستغرق أسابيع ليست الأيام. هذا العمل دقيق ومعقد، فيعني ليس هناك أحد.
However, the Russian airline ruled out any technical fault or pilot error. It blamed external influence instead. The Airbus 321 is thought to have broken up mid-air on Saturday. Meanwhile, the bodies of the victims are being identified in St. Petersburg. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's all we have time for in the news tonight from the entire team here. Good night.